Just before recording this video, I could hear a faint sound of a chicken screaming into the wind. And I thought to myself, I told you so. As I sit here in MAGA country, surrounded by a bunch of right-wing nut jobs who apparently are just minding their own business and never bother me, I can't help but think about these stories, like this video right here. Street takeover turns into looting. That's right. In Los Angeles, street takeovers keep happening. And people are rampaging through the streets, smashing things up and doing whatever they want. Happened in Chicago. It happened in LA. It'll probably happen everywhere else. Me? I left the cities. I'm out in MAGA country and I got chickens. Now, as much as I love talking about chickens, we have yet to get any goats, but we're on our way to being self-sustaining. I think it is important that we all be responsible, that we be good stewards of the earth, that we make sure we can thrive and survive and not pollute, reduce, reuse, recycle. And with that comes, 1, get out of the cities, get away from the Democrat policies that are destroying everything, start a garden, raise some animals, and try and produce as much food as possible on your own. Flatten out your pollution footprint and try to live in harmony with this planet. I am all about that environmentalist message. So when I look at these cities and I see these videos, oh man, let's play this video for you. You can see for yourself. 1.2 million views.
A video into our newsroom shows hundreds of people crowding an Arco near Central and Alondra. After smashing the door, dozens of looters flooded into the store, grabbing anything they could. LA sheriff's deputies tell us there were thousands of dollars worth of merchandise stolen and 1,000 more in damages. This as deputies deal with numerous street takeovers throughout the city.
Let me show you this again. And I hope you heard that. Numerous street takeovers. Take a look at this guy with a smile on his face. You can see it. I'm not trying to snitch or anything on this guy. Just look at his face. Is the video? Yeah,
and 1,000 more in damages.
He smiles as he just rips products from the wall. I don't think he's taking them. He's just ripping things. Oh, maybe he's putting them in a bag.
Intervene because of
laughing.
Just
look at that. He just threw them in the air. A bunch of Trojan condoms, and he just whacks them off the shelf and they go flying through the air. He didn't care about anything. This is social breakdown. This is the collapse of civilization. Maybe not completely. You know, in my previous segment, I was talking about useless eaters and Yuval Noah Harari and all that stuff. And that seems to be the through line for today. Another viral video showing street takeovers in Los Angeles, just like we saw in Chicago. Are you still in a city? Here's my question. Why? Honest question. I mentioned this earlier, and I want to stress this again for this segment as we watch another one of these videos. People have said to me, Tim, it's too hard. I can't just up and leave. I don't have the money. Here's the point I want to make. If you're in your house and someone says your house is prone to fire and the house next door is burning down, you might say, okay, well, look, I have nowhere to go. I can't afford a hotel and I don't want to abandon my stuff. I can't just up and leave. They'll put the fire out. I get it. Maybe the fire's a couple houses down and you're like, well, what am I going to do? Just leave my house? The fire's a couple houses down. I'm fine. The fire spreads. Now your neighbor's house is on fire. And you're like, look, man, I can't just up and leave. I get that there's a fire coming, but maybe it won't come here. What am I supposed to do anyway? Where am I supposed to go? I get it. You don't got anywhere to go. I get it. Then the fire, it hits your house. Your house is on fire. What happens then? At that point, you grab what you can and you run out of the building and you say, I have nowhere to go, but I had no choice. And that's the position we are rapidly approaching. So I ask you this. When I look at all these stories, I ask you this. If you were faced with a pending disaster and you were given, would you prefer to have 24 hours notice to get what you could out of the building? Or would you prefer to grab, a backpack and run for it? If someone told me you have 24 hours, that wildfire, or let's say this, in 5 hours, that wildfire is going to hit your neighborhood. Start packing now, get in your car and leave. I'd be like, okay. But here's the funny thing. People see that on the news and they load up their trucks because they've got hours. And then they say, we better get out of here before the fire gets here. Some people refuse. Some of those people die. My point is simply this. No matter how hard it might be, when the fire comes to your home, that's it. There's no questions asked. Hardship awaits. And if you plan in advance, you at the very least can save some of your belongings. So here's the issue. I don't know when the fire's coming. I just know that, look at this. Street takeovers throughout LA, looting in LA and Chicago. It ain't stopping here. The mayor of Chicago defended the riots. You think they're going to stop any of this stuff? So how long will you wait? How long will you wait? I mean, seriously, because what you're going to say is, I can't just up and leave. I have no money. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I get it for sure. And like I said, when the fire is burning your house down, you'll leave anyway. When the riots come to your neighborhood and they're smashing windows and torching cars and flipping them over, looting your gas station, you will get in your car and you'll just leave because you have no choice. You won't stay in your home and say, I hope everything's okay, because it's not okay, because bullets will go flying, because people are being hurt and injured. And then random crazies take over your neighborhood. You're going to get out, and then it will be harder. That's the crazy reality of what we're seeing with these videos. KTLA5 says, a street takeover in Compton early Sunday morning was followed by a large mob breaking down the door of a gas station and stealing thousands of dollars worth of products. Video of the street takeover shows a large group of people blocking the four-way intersection with cars drifting in circles with tires screeching loudly around 2:30 a.m. Sunday morning. Another video shows several men kicking the door of the mini-mart down, followed by many more individuals ransacking the store of thousands of dollars of alcohol, snacks, and condoms. The gas station and convenience store sustained severe damage as a result of the looting. The intersection of Central Avenue and Alondra Boulevard was covered in tire marks and trash littered the sidewalk outside of the Arco mini-mart in the hours after the illegal street takeover. The crowd, which consisted of roughly 100 people, dispersed in all directions quickly after the looting. Sheriff's deputies said they also received reports of gunshots being fired about a block away from the street takeover. So far, no arrests have been made. And do you think they're actually going to criminally charge these people? I find that laughable. Even if they can figure out who that guy was who was laughing as he waxed the condoms into the air, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Nothing. They're going to let the guy out. They're going to say, oh, don't you do it again. And they don't care if he does it again. They kind of want him to. I assume they all want him to. These cities are crumbling, man. They're absolutely falling apart. And it's only a matter of time before these things come to a town near you. Now, many of you may live in smaller towns and smaller cities. You're probably fine. I got to be honest. I don't think it's going to come to your small town of 10 or 30,000. But there are smaller cities of 100 to 300,000, and they will come. During the Summer of Love, the one thing we saw was that even in these smaller cities of around 100,000, maybe even 50, somehow Black Lives Matter rioted and smashed and destroyed everything. I think what we're seeing is nihilism to an extreme degree. People with no purpose, no cause, no religion, no desires. They got nothing else to do. They fear nothing. They fear no one. They have no families. And idle hands are the devil's playground. And this is what you see. They say authorities are actively investigating and reviewing surveillance footage to try and identify suspects involved in the illegal street takeover and looting of the convenience store. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact the LA County Sheriff's Department. Why? Do you really think it's worth your time to call up people who will do nothing? Nothing. Soros-funded DAs, Democrats in power, whatever you want to call it, people keep voting for the same thing. So what's your guarantee here? I think your guarantee is chaos. I think your guarantee is, as the crime gets worse, Democrats will keep defending it. And then you will see people say, and I'll add this, in the Hank Green video, Hank Green tweets out, what's a better universe, with humans or without? And 41.2 said without humans. One person responded with pronouns in his bio that some people just keep voting against their interests and they don't know why. That person is a zombie. And I say they're a zombie because if they're on the left and they think it is you or I voting against our interests, they have no idea what we actually think. There's a funny meme that I saw. Someone responded to Josie, the redheaded libertarian, on Twitter. And it said something like, I'm a libertarian, but I don't think gay people should be allowed to get married, they claimed. Or the idea was that they thought libertarians opposed gay marriage and opposed smoking weed and all that stuff, property rights. And they were just like, do you know what libertarians actually believe? They don't, because they're a death cult. I have to wonder about that. What is it about a person that they're unwilling to do any research, that they believe insane things, and are willing to live in cities like this? Maybe there is a component of nature in that. Some people are incapable of actually discerning. Maybe they're just not smart enough. I don't know. I can tell you one thing. Whether intentional or not, the end result is going to be the increase in the average intelligence of the average human being. The human beings who are intelligent enough and inquisitive enough to explore, to investigate, and formulate their own plans are going to be okay. And the people who aren't smart enough and don't care, they're not going to be okay. Or at the very least, they're not going to have kids. They will not strive in a place, they won't thrive in a place where this kind of looting goes on. But there it is, my friends. Just like in Chicago, we see it in LA. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes. Stick around and I'll see you all shortly.